Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about why all mags are not created equally, and in particular, OEM versus manufacturer specific versus the bottom of the barrel terrible mags. Don't use them unless your life absolutely depends on it, but don't depend your life on them because they're gonna fail you. Mags. So let's dig into it here. Magazines, all of them are not created equally. You have different types, variations, kinds, what have you. We all know this. You must get the magazine that works for your gun, and some magazines are shared across platforms like ARs, AKs, Glock mags, list goes on here. Then you have very specific magazines that you have to buy that one type, and you can't get any aftermarket ones, and they have to be from the manufacturer. And if they have any variation of them, you're pretty much done. I'm looking at you, HK. But with that said, there are definitely a few variations here, and we're just going to kind of talk about it. So, first things first here, we'll get into the OEM mags, i.e. the mags made by the manufacturer, and it must be the guns that must use those magazines from that manufacturer. For example, here we have the H&K P30L magazine that I have, chambered here in 9mm, conveniently. One good thing about OEM mags is where they're going to work. They're going to work pretty much all the time, every time, unless, of course, they are from a crappy firearm company to begin with. But by and large, they will work, and usually they're of pretty good quality for the most part because they're staking their name on it. They, usually if you have a bad experience with a magazine, which before we even dive any further, the magazine, of course, is the weakest part of any semi-automatic weapon. Period. If the magazine fails you, if the gun don't run, the gun don't feed, the gun don't shoot. Just how it is. So you always want to have that be your best part where you invest in. And it does get expensive when you start getting 10, 15 mags, whatever. But it'll worth in the long run, and they don't really expire for the most part. And when I say expire, I mean like wear down. The springs do wear down after so many times, and they can crack if they fall. But by and large, you're pretty much going to have them for the life of the gun. But I digress. Sorry, went off on a little geeky nerd tangent there. But OEM mags, they usually work. The problem with them usually is, though, that they control the price, they control the market. You don't have any alternatives. For example, these are about, give or take, about $34 a piece. Now, they're good mags. They're metal mags. They're all clean. They don't come color-filled. If you want to see how to do that, check out my other video here on the channel. But they're usually of good quality, and you're paying for that quality. So that is what it is. H&K does it. A few other people do it. And it kind of sucks for those guns. But if you like them, you shoot them, you use them. And with that, let's roll into the non-OEM mags, but are OEM, but aren't made by the company that is making the firearm. For example, here we have Magpul Gen 3 P-Mags. These are standard in almost every single AR that you can find out there. If you buy an AR and you live in a free state where you can get the standard capacity, not high capacity, standard capacity magazines, then you're going to more likely get one of these. Why is that? Well, they work, they're reliable, they don't jam, they're built like a brick outhouse as far as if a brick outhouse was made of polymer, and they're generally cheap. You could pick up these for give or take around $14, as opposed to close to $40. I'm looking at you again, HK. I'm joking. I love HKs, but I do have my little pet peeves with them. But these mags, they work. They're good. They would be considered OEM because if they come with the gun, they're going to work. And once you start branching out of the manufacturer-specific magazines, what I usually recommend is use the brand or the type of magazine that shipped with the gun. If they shipped that with the gun, they anticipated it for it to be used and have the tolerances for that gun. I've known some ARs that will ship with like the steel mags, but the P mags fit a bit better. Or vice versa, they'll ship with the P mags, but they're a bit too tight, and then these ones fit better. So it kind of varies a bit, but usually I would say run the mags that you have with. Now, P mags, good to go, at least in my book. Then you have the budget tier ones that they ship with that aren't as good quality as like a PMag, but they get the job done. They work. This particular is a C Product stainless steel mag. Nothing wrong with this. Again, built sturdily, made in the USA. Good mag, metal, stainless steel. You're not gonna, you really can't go wrong with it. It'll definitely outlast that PMag there. But as far as fit, finish, feel, usability, I prefer the PMags, but these are my go-to Doomsday mags. But some of my guns have shipped with these. They're fantastic. They work, but they're just a bit different from the PMags. So moving on here, we have these two. Now, these two feed the same gun. These type of magazines are the ones where you have the OEM made by manufacturer like HK, but you also have a secondary one that is made by a third party. In this case, it happens to be Mec-Gar. Now, for those of you that don't know, Mec-Gar, they actually make a lot of the OEM mags for different companies. HK is not an example, but like if HK said we're done the magazine game, they could go to Mec-Gar and Mec-Gar would say, yeah, here, we'll make your mags, no problem. And then they would just stamp HK on here, and you would never know that this HK mag would be a Mec-Gar magazine, but it would never say it. They would pay for the licensing to use to put their branding on the Mec-Gars. And that's honestly what appears to pretty much happen with these CZ mags. Now, they do have a little bit of different fit and finish. Of course, just keep a little bit of differences. But you can really see there, especially with the lettering, that essentially it's the same gosh darn magazine. And what's the difference, you say? Well, this magazine, you're looking at about $30. This magazine, you're looking at about $15. Half the price. You're literally paying for the brand name and just that, box, the labeling, the marketing. So if you do your research right and you find a magazine that is like this, like these CZ75 mags, then you could save a heck of a lot of money and you're not losing anything. And it's just a better way to go, especially with just magazines, because magazine's a magazine. Now, the Mec-Gars, they function flawlessly. They work fine, and they're literally the same dang thing, just different branded. So that's the type of OEM, non-OEM magazines that you can find for certain guns. Now, all guns don't have those, but they are out there. Just do your research, and you can find them out there. I highly recommend the Mec-Gar CZ75 magazines if you got a CZ75. Finally, last but definitely least is the junk doo-doo throwaway mags. Now, these magazines, I actually bought a gun from a friend who lives behind enemy lines in a not-so-free state, and as you can see here, they were pinned. I don't use these. I live in a free state here, so I tried to remedy them, just see what I could do. As you can see, I kind of chop-shopped them. They were pinned, riveted, I guess you would say, to limit the capacity of them. So I tried to take those out and see what I could do. Obviously, I failed. But even if they didn't have these mags are doo-doo. There's no way around it. This one is a KCI. It's a Korean KCI mag, and this one is a no-name KCI knockoff. Now, I have never had good luck with Korean mags. If I see a Korean mag, I won't touch it. Unless I have a Korean gun, the Korean mag isn't going in it. Period. They don't work. The followers are crap. As you see there, it sticks. So, you can see there. It just sticks. It doesn't really work. This follower just, you see how it just pivots there and your rounds get stuck. Actually, here, let me grab one of these other mags. Now, again, this was from the same friend who lives in the non-free state. And you can see here, this is essentially what it's trying to copy. This is a OEM Glock mag, Glock Austria here. And you see the difference of how it works. So obviously the polymers look different. This you can feel is a better quality polymer. This is like that cheap Chinesian plastic. You can see there it only has the one kind of cut. And you can see especially deviation from the fit and finish of the feed lip. So you see there it actually like goes down. This one just kind of, it's just a whole different magazine. So these type of magazines, these budget, terrible working magazines, stay away from these. Don't trust them at all in the slightest. Unless you want some junk mags to kind of torture test, that's the only place that I would ever find these. I would much rather pay, I think you were saying these were like, like $15 a piece. So all in line with the Mec-Gars, but definitely not the same quality. I would much rather pay $23 for this Glock magazine as opposed to that. You're definitely getting what you pay for in there. and just reliability. They've killed every gun that I've tried to run them. They will not run, and you get so many variations between them. Again, these are kind of like just cheap old knockoffs. You can see here, like, they're pretty much supposed to be the same mag, but this one's metal reinforced, this one isn't. This one has a higher cut than this one. Yeah, list goes on and on. So these type of mags, stay away from. Don't use them. Trust me. But with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I had my little rant on those KCI magazines. There have been so many range days that have been ruined by those before I learned my lesson. Said, you know what? That's it. Not going to use those again. So let me know what you guys think. If you say KCI is the best magazine ever, down in the comments, you are going to get thumbs down. I'm sorry. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you have any other kind of variations of magazines that you found that work really well, that not a lot of people know about, like the Mech-Gars here. And yeah, be happy to have a discussion there with you. I hope everyone is having a wonderful, awesome, fantastic day. If you like the video, please like, comment, and/or subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time. See you guys.